Hello, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining me today. I just heard that some Just Stop Oil activists vandalized Stonehenge. Let's see what happened to them. Just Stop Oil activists who covered Stonehenge with orange powder are cleared of criminal damage after making human rights defense. It's a human right to deface Stonehenge. I'm all about human rights, civil rights. That's one of the things I like to cover on my channel. So let's read more and see what I think. Three Just Stop Oil activists who sprayed Stonehenge with orange powder using fire extinguishers have been found not guilty of criminal damage and causing a public nuisance. Well, I definitely think they caused a public nuisance, but criminal damage? I don't know. I have to see the definition. Rajan Naidu, 74, and University of Oxford student Niama Lynch, 23, used two color blasters filled with cornflower talc and an orange dye to spray the World Heritage Site during a fossil fuel protest. Okay, so it's a World Heritage Site, so they damaged a listed site. There must be laws around that. The court was told the pair, along with Luke Watson, 36, targeted Stonehenge the day before last year's summer solstice, where around 15,000 people were due to gather and celebrate. All right, so they were trying to ruin the summer solstice event. Stonehenge was cherry-picked as the target for Just Stop Oil's stunt to provide maximum impact, prosecutors told the trial. Yeah, people would notice if you damaged Stonehenge. They had all denied charges of damaging an ancient protected monument, causing a public nuisance during the trial on Salisbury Court. The trio accepted taking part in the protests and cited in their defense reasonable excuse that their rights under Article 10 and 11 of the European Convention on Human Rights to freedom of speech and freedom to protest. No, you don't get to vandalize property during your free speech or your free protest, I don't believe. So vandalism for me doesn't count, but I guess the court said vandalism is okay now in the UK. They told the court that the protest was a peaceful action with good intentions. Nope, not peaceful if you do property damage. Following a trial, they have today been acquitted of criminal damage and causing a public nuisance. The three protesters hugged and were seen smiling after the verdicts were delivered. So, how is this different from the Palestine Action protesters who threw paint on an airplane at an RAF base? They're legitimate terrorists now. Palestine Action is a terrorist organization. You can't even go to a protest supporting Palestine Action anymore without getting nicked. I guess with net zero, protesting against oil is okay. Judge Paul Dugdale thanked the jury, but gave a warning to the courtroom saying it is important to balance freedom of speech and allowing a heritage site to be unmolested by members of the public. Yes, it should be unmolested because people want to enjoy their history and go visit it and see it. They don't want to see orange paint on our historical sites. So let's watch a video of them doing it. Looks like there's one here. It's definitely a nuisance.
Hello, I'm PT Hopkins. I'm from Salisbury Police Station. Obviously you guys have performed some form of demonstration today. Are you going to introduce yourselves so that we've at least got some dialogue working? Do you want to talk to us today?
All right, so now we've seen it. I think the judge is definitely wrong. This was definitely a public nuisance at the very least. I'm not a lawyer, so criminal damage, perhaps there's a pound value to the damage and it's not criminal unless it's above a certain amount. So let's see if this story tells us more. It definitely looks to me to be a nuisance in criminal damage, but again, I'm not a lawyer. The judge told the jury in his legal directions they had to assess where the balance lies in the case and whether conviction would be a proportionate interference with the defendant's rights. Hopefully it'll tell us what the potential sentence was, because I'd like to see that, to see if I think that that is a proportionate sentence. In any society, there will be those whose opinions we agree with and those whose opinions we disagree. Yep, 100% agree with that. The essence of a free society and freedom of speech is that everyone is entitled to express their opinion, even when we disagree with what they say. I'm fully on board with you, Judge. If individuals disagree with our government is doing on certain matters, they are entitled to protest about the government's actions or inactions. Yep. So far, everything the judge is saying here in this part, I agree with. All of this is the essence of our free society. It is how our society was developed over the centuries, and reality is we are very fortunate to live in a free society. There are times when protecting the right of freedom of speech and freedom to protest can mean that activity that would otherwise be unlawful would be regarded as lawful by the court to protect those rights. The only way I agree with that is if I think the law is wrong and we want to get the law changed. But I'm in full agreement that we should prosecute vandals. So in this case, I think he messed up. Salisbury Crown Court heard Watson had purchased the color blasters, which have been described as fire extinguishers, as the start of the case from the Kingdom of Colors website, and his DNA was found on one of the blasters. Watson had driven his co-accused to the Wiltshire Monument on the morning of the protests in his grandmother's Ford Fiesta. I don't know why we need to know all that. Watson told jurors he became involved in activism while working on an organic farm, just joining the Extinction Rebellion group in 2019 before getting involved with Just Stop Oil. When asked by Simon Jones prosecuting whether he thought direct action was necessary, Nadeau told jurors, I felt it was, yes, because we've taken actions which we talked about, the lobbying. We've had demonstrations, we've had marches, but still the government policy hasn't changed. We're still on a highway to hell. Nadeau told the court that the cylinders used in the stunt were a brand used in India as part of celebrations of the Hindu festival of color, Holi. Before the incident, Mr. Nadeau said he had carried out research around the company which made the pre-made orange powder. It's used in ceremonies and people throw it all over one another and is cleanable, he said. Okay, so if it's cleanable, maybe it won't do permanent damage. That might be what got them off. Speaking after the verdicts, Nadeau said the judicial system must wake up and begin to play its shamefully neglected role in defending us and other species from rapacious billionaire class climate criminals. We need a global fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty right now. Lynch, who is now a master's student in ecology and conservation at the University of Exeter, said, I just want things to be better. I just want things to be fair and right. If you see something you love being hurt, you do everything you can to help. It's quite simple. It's totally natural. I might not be able to do much, but I categorically refuse to do nothing. I refuse to stand by and watch as our world burns around us. Watson, a carpenter, added, I'm glad of the verdict, but feel the last 2 weeks have been a complete waste of public money and that a case involving 620 pounds of damage should have been dealt with in the magistrate's court. Okay. So the cleanup cost was 620 pounds. So there was a cost and the waste of money of the investigation and the court time. In her closing speech, on behalf of Miss Lynch, Audrey Morgan told the court that she was devastated when police told her that there was a small amount of powder left on the stones in the short term. The judge had also told the jury there was no medium to long-term damage to the rare lichen on the stones. Summarizing Miss Lynch's evidence, the judge said that she assumed that the powder would be blown off by the summer solstice. Gerard Pitt, defending Mr. Watson, asked the jury what its legacy would be in his closing speech and said sometimes people are going to take nonviolent action. Sometimes it's going to need cleaning up. Tell the world that it's fine. Not only is it fine, you're proud of it, he said. Opening the trial last week, prosecutor Mr. Jones told the jury that Stonehenge is arguably the best recognized prehistoric circle in the whole world. Yeah, I've been there twice. You don't go and visit things if they're not well known. The prosecutor continued, the site in Wiltshire is visited by members of the public all over the world, providing both an education and a spiritual experience. Yeah, I agree. The stones are a protected monument. Mr. Jones told jurors how on June 19th last year, Nadeau and Lynch went behind boundary ropes at the site into a prohibited area. Yeah, the first time I went, the tour wasn't allowed to cross the boundary ropes. And if you haven't been to Stonehenge, there's a pathway around it where you can just see it and then it's roped off. Basically, there's a little tunnel that goes from a visitor center under a hill and then you walk up to the monument and there's nothing else there. It's out in the middle of a field. The second time we went, we were on a different tour and we were allowed to go up to the stones and even touch them. As I said, it's in the middle of nowhere and our tour coach broke down and it's really dark out there. We had to wait for them to come fix it. But it was a good time. I enjoyed going to Stonehenge both times I went. He said they were trespassers. They knew they weren't meant to be over those ropes in that area, and they were armed with fire extinguishers containing an orange powder consisting of corn flour and talc and was stained with highly fluorescent synthetic orange dye. The substance was sprayed over the stones by both defendants. Mr. Jones said Stonehenge was deliberately chosen as a target to shock people. He also revealed in court the cleanup cost £620 and involved the use of a specialist cleaning technique. Mr. Jones told jurors that Nadu and Lynch were very determined and showed a blatant disregard. Yeah, we saw that in the picture. There was a small woman was trying to pull Mr. Nadu away from the stones, and he was bigger than her. I think he's older than her, but still it was difficult. She had a hard time getting him pulled off. It was also heard that an assistant at Stonehenge begged them to please stop, and a member of public also intervened. Yeah, I didn't see the member of public, I don't think, in the picture. So what do I think? Was this proportionate? No. I'm not going to get into the merits of Stop Oil on this. In general, I'm against vandalizing property. This case, it appears the judge went lenient on them because the amount of damage was very light and easily cleaned up. But by not giving them a stiffer sentence, this just encourages more bad behavior. And it starts with this, and then the next thing you know, they're throwing tomato soup on Van Gogh's butterflies, and they're throwing paint in the Naval Museum in Spain on Columbus. So where does it stop? It's just like traffic tickets. One of the reasons you don't speed is because you get tickets. This is the same thing. I don't want people vandalizing our heritage. I don't want people vandalizing our historical sites and hurting the enjoyment of these sites for others. And it just escalates. Next time they're going to do something bigger. Like Mr. Nadu said, what they've done so far hasn't worked, so they had to do something more. No, this is not proportionate. In my view, if it costs £620 to clean up, I think I would have been good giving the two of them say a £2,000 fine each and a year in jail. This might dissuade the next knucklehead from vandalizing our history. Tell me what you think. If I got this right or wrong, let me know in the comments. Hey, if you like this, like and subscribe. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Thanks. Bye.